But I started my blog when I was in high school. I was a junior in high school. Wrote a book when I was 18. Relaunched because I started my blog on MySpace. Like, that's how old I am. MySpace goes down the tubes. So I end up like finally like finagling a way to get an actual website. I do that for a few years. I met Dave Portnoy, so like Barstool ended up picking me up in like 2014. I was there until 2021. Left, went to DraftKings, and then left, and now met Underdog to put Section 10 back together, which is my Red Sox podcast. I also do an MLB podcast, Baseball is Dead, with Dallas Braden, who is a certified psychopath broadcaster of the Oakland A's.
Yeah, he's just in town. I wish I had a chance to. I wanted to go to the series. Had to miss that because all hands on deck here with New York. But yeah, you had the journey. I just like to explain it because a lot of people ask, how do you get involved in baseball, or you want to follow the game and you love it? Well, you got to have a passion for it. You got to put in the work and then kind of see where, shit takes you. And for you, it took you to so many different places. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you was starting 9. Is that when the most that you've interacted with my dad? And I know you have high things to say about him. At least that's one of us here that can speak that way about him.
Yeah. He came on the podcast twice. So as I told you, he is my favorite baseball player of all time. So as I mentioned to you when we were talking about doing the show, my AIM screen name was C Ripken 2131X8. So like I went to Baltimore for the first time in 2001. I believe the Orioles were playing the Yankees, and Mike Mussina was pitching. Your dad hit a home run that day, and it was just crazy because like it was his final season, so his stuff was everywhere. And I was like, "What's the deal with this guy?" I was probably like in 6th or 7th grade.
Yeah,
and after that, I only collected his baseball cards. So I have like a binder of just his baseball cards. I didn't care about I was more of a Cal Ripken Jr. fan than a Red Sox fan at that point. So yeah, no, getting to interview him. The first time I interviewed him, because I usually get this question a lot in interviews, like what's like your career defining moment? What's the best moment of your career? It was obviously being in the parade when the Red Sox won the World Series in 2018. I was in the World Series parade. I was blackout drunk, and to interview your dad the next day in New York City. Perfect. So I black out in Boston. I'm asleep by 7 p.m. Because I believe it was Halloween. So everyone was like, yeah, like, where are we going for Halloween? And I didn't make it to dinner time, basically. Passed out at 7 p.m., woke up, took a train back to New York City to make sure that I was there to interview your dad for the first time.
See, that's the real grind. Did you tell him that you just hung out beyond? Oh, you should have done that. He would have had way more appreciation because that's a part of the grind. You work hard. That's the baseball lifestyle, whether people want to believe it. That's the dream right there. And actually, Zach says this all the time. How can you not be romantic about baseball?
How can you not be romantic about baseball?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, come on.
That just says it right there. And yeah, there are some. Yeah, that he next time you should remind him of that, or at least bring that up to him. He would appreciate that. But
I don't even know if he knew who I was still. Like, I know I have interviewed him twice, but I can't for me to be like, hey, remember that time? Like, he probably meets so many people all the time. Like, he's one of those dudes that if he's at the park, like, he signs for everyone that asks and takes a picture with everyone who asks. There's no way that he would remember who I am.
Well, I mean, yes, he would. I asked him about it. I asked him about it. He's like, "Oh yeah, I did go. What was it? 4 years ago, maybe."
This was 2018. The first
years.
time was 18. The second time I think was 19. So it's been a while since I've seen him or interviewed him. But yeah, I just remember giving him like a 3.5 minute introduction, like listing every single career accomplishment before I brought him in.
That's it. That's where you went wrong. Don't give him that much credit here.